My name is Claire Elizabeth Morrison. I'm 29 years old, and exactly 48 hours after my parents told me I wasn't welcome at their anniversary celebration, I showed up anyway with a manila folder that would destroy everything they'd built on lies. The text message had arrived at 11:23 p.m. on a Tuesday. Claire, we've decided this year's dinner is for immediate family only. You understand? I stared at those words before the cruel irony hit me. I had been funding their immediate family for the past 6 years. By sunrise, I had a complete financial audit of exactly how much their immediate family had cost me, $143,847.52. Before I explain what happened when I walked through their door uninvited, let me know where you're viewing from and hit subscribe if you've ever been excluded by the very people you've been quietly supporting for years. To really understand why that text message felt like a betrayal carved into bone, you'd have to go back 6 years to the week my younger sister Jennifer announced her engagement to Marcus, a finance guy whose family owned a chain of car dealerships. My parents had practically vibrated with excitement. I was 23 then, working 60-hour weeks as a junior analyst at a healthcare consulting firm in Hartford, living in a cramped studio apartment. Jennifer was 21, working part-time at a boutique while living at home rent-free. The wedding planning consumed our family dinners entirely. When the budget discussion started, I watched my father's expression tighten with each new expense. That's when Dad pulled me aside one evening. Claire, I know you're doing well at your job. We were wondering if you might contribute to your sister's wedding. As a gift to the family, I contributed $8,000 that month, nearly a quarter of my annual salary after taxes. I never saw a thank you card. At the wedding, during the toasts, my father thanked everyone who made this magical day possible without naming me specifically, while spending 3 minutes praising Marcus's parents. My best friend Rachel, who'd attended as my plus one, had leaned over during dinner. Did he just skip over your contribution entirely? He does that, I'd murmured back, swallowing the familiar taste of invisibility. But the wedding was just the beginning. Within 6 months, Jennifer and Marcus bought their first house, a sprawling 4-bedroom colonial. 2 months later, my mother called me on a Friday evening. Your sister's having some cash flow issues. The mortgage payment is higher than they anticipated. Could you help them out just this once? Maybe $2,500. I should have said no. Instead, I transferred the money that same night. The payment to Jennifer became monthly, then twice monthly, just until Marcus's bonus comes through. Turned into an unspoken expectation that I'd simply cover whatever shortfall existed between their lifestyle and their actual income. Over the next 5 years, the requests multiplied. Car repairs for Jennifer when she rear-ended someone, $3,200. Property taxes they'd forgotten to budget for, $6,800. Medical bills from Marcus's emergency appendectomy, $9,100. Emergency roof repairs after a storm, $12,500, though I later discovered through their social media posts that they'd upgraded to architectural shingles. Every time, my mother would call with that same concerned tone. Family takes care of family, Claire. You know how hard things are for young couples starting out. My father developed a different tactic. He'd call late at night, his voice heavy with manufactured worry. Your mother's not sleeping. She's so stressed about your sister's situation. Could you just help us smooth this over? If this sounds familiar, drop a comment below about how family members weaponize guilt when they want your wallet to open. Rachel watched this pattern with increasing frustration. Claire, they're bleeding you dry, she'd said during one of our monthly dinners. You're 28 years old, still in a studio apartment, driving a 12-year-old Honda, while your younger sister lives like a reality TV housewife on your dime. What my family never knew was that I'd started documenting everything. I needed to track where my money went to understand why I never seemed to have enough despite earning a solid salary. I created a detailed spreadsheet with dates, amounts, stated reasons, and actual uses when I could verify them. The spreadsheet revealed patterns I'd been too close to see clearly. The one-time requests that came monthly. The emergencies that coincidentally appeared right before their vacation bookings. I started saving text messages, emails, voicemails. I took screenshots of social media posts showing expensive dinners happening within days of receiving my emergency money. 3 months ago, something shifted. Marcus's parents had purchased a vacation condo in Aruba, and suddenly my parents were flying down for long weekends. Jennifer had started shopping at boutiques where a single dress cost more than my monthly rent. My mother joined an exclusive garden club with a 5-figure membership fee. Meanwhile, I had been promoted to senior analyst with a substantial raise. My mother had smiled vaguely and changed the subject to Jennifer's kitchen renovation plans. But the financial requests increased immediately after, as if my raise had been automatically allocated to their budget. The final straw came 3 weeks before their 30th wedding anniversary. My mother had called to discuss their celebration plans. "Nothing too extravagant," she'd assured me. "Your father and I are paying for everything ourselves. Although," she'd added, "if you wanted to contribute toward the wine and champagne, that would be lovely. Maybe $2,000. I'd agreed, as I always did. But that evening, I'd seen Jennifer's Instagram story showing her and Marcus at an exclusive wine tasting event, posting about the amazing vintage champagne they discovered. The same brand my mother had mentioned. The bottle price, $400. I did the math. For $2,000, my parents could buy 5 bottles. Something didn't add up. That night, I started digging deeper, cross-referencing dates and amounts with social media posts. The picture that emerged turned my stomach. The roof repair money had gone out on a Tuesday. By Saturday, my parents had posted photos from a spa weekend. The medical bill had been paid on a Friday. The following Monday, Jennifer had posted unboxing videos of her new designer handbag collection. They hadn't been struggling. They'd been living beyond their means deliberately because they knew I'd cover the gap. I sat in my shabby studio apartment that night, staring at a spreadsheet that documented $143,847.52 in transfers over 72 months. I'd postponed buying a condo, postponed grad school, postponed the life I wanted because family takes care of family. That's when the text message arrived at 11:23 p.m. "Claire, we've decided this year's dinner is for immediate family only. You understand?" I called Jennifer the next morning. "What's this about the dinner being family only?" "Oh, yeah," she said breezily. "Marcus's parents are coming, and Mom wanted to keep it intimate. Just the core family, you know. No extra people." "Extra people," I'd repeated slowly. After $143,847.52, I was extra. After 6 years of emergency transfers and crisis management, I was not immediate family. Something fundamental cracked inside me in that moment. I opened my laptop and started preparing for the anniversary dinner I'd been uninvited from. I called Rachel first. "I need a witness," I told her. "And maybe a lawyer." The anniversary dinner was scheduled for Saturday at 6 p.m. I arrived at exactly 6:47 p.m., fashionably late enough that all guests would be assembled. Rachel was with me, dressed professionally. I carried a leather portfolio containing printed copies of my spreadsheet, bank statements, and a timeline. The driveway was crowded with expensive cars. Through the large front windows, I could see people mingling, champagne glasses in hand. I walked straight to the front door and rang the bell. My mother answered, her face flushed with champagne and happiness that drained immediately when she saw me. "Claire," she said, her voice tight, "this is a surprise." "I thought it might be," I replied evenly. "May I come in?" I'd already stepped past her into the foyer, Rachel following. "We discussed that this dinner was for immediate family only," I finished. "Yes, I got that message. I'm here to discuss exactly what immediate family means in this household." My father appeared from the living room, his expression cycling from confusion to panic. "Claire, sweetheart, this isn't appropriate. We have guests." "Perfect," I said. "They should hear this too." Jennifer emerged next, Marcus hovering behind her. "What are you doing here?" "Mom told you we wanted it small this year." "Small," I repeated, scanning the room where I could count at least 25 people. "This is small." The murmur of conversation in the living room had quieted. I walked in, and the crowd parted uncertainly. "I apologize for interrupting your celebration," I announced. "But I need to have a conversation with my parents, and since I've been excluded from the immediate family tonight, I thought this might be my only opportunity." "Claire, stop this right now," my father said. "Why am I not invited to this dinner, Dad?" I asked directly. "We felt it would be better to keep things simple this year," he said carefully. Just the core family unit. The core family unit, I echoed, opening my portfolio. Let me make sure I understand. It includes Jennifer and Marcus. It includes Marcus's parents. It includes your golf buddies. But it doesn't include me, your daughter who's been funding this family's lifestyle for 6 years. The silence that fell was absolute. My mother's face had gone pale. That's not fair, Jennifer said weakly. You want to talk about fair? I pulled out the first sheet, a simple one-page summary. Over the past 6 years, I have transferred exactly $143,847.52 to various members of this immediate family. Jennifer, you received $89,200. Mom and Dad, you received $54,647.52. That breaks down to approximately $1,998.47 per month, every month, for 72 consecutive months. I heard someone gasp. Marcus's mother set her champagne glass down with a sharp click. You're making this about money, my mother said, her voice shaking. Family isn't about keeping score. You're absolutely right, I agreed. Family isn't about keeping score. But employment is. And for the past 6 years, I've functionally been your banker, your emergency fund. Except employees get thanked. Employees don't get uninvited to family celebrations for being extra. We never asked you to keep track like this, my father said defensively. Was it voluntary? I flipped to the next page. Let me read you some of these requests. March 15th, 3 years ago. Claire, your sister's in trouble with the mortgage. $2,500 would save them. June 8th. Roof is leaking. We need $12,500 or the whole ceiling will collapse. I looked up at my parents. Interesting thing about that roof emergency. I have a contractor's invoice. You paid him $8,200, not $12,500. Where did the other $4,300 go? My mother's hand went to her throat, touching the pearl necklace she'd posted on Facebook with the caption, "Anniversary gift to myself, 2 weeks after that roof payment." Jennifer was crying now. Marcus had gone very still, his face flushed. "You're humiliating us," my mother hissed. "In front of our friends." "No," I said, my voice steady and calm. "I'm just telling the truth. For the first time in 6 years, I'm saying out loud what all of you have known and exploited. I was never family to you. I was a resource." I pulled out another sheet. Here's another set of numbers. In the past 6 years, how many times have I been invited to family dinners? 43. How many times have I been asked to contribute money? 87. When was the last time one of you called me just to talk? The question hung in the air. None of them answered. "You're being cruel," my father said, sounding genuinely hurt. "After everything we've done for you." "Like what?" I asked. "Name one thing you've done for me in the past 6 years that didn't involve asking me for money." Silence. "I graduated with my master's degree 2 years ago." "Who came to the ceremony?" "Rachel did." "Not you." "I got promoted to senior analyst last year." "Who took me to celebrate?" "Rachel did." "I had surgery 18 months ago." "Who drove me home from the hospital?" "Rachel did." I saw my mother flinch with each example. "Every major moment in my adult life, you've been absent for unless it involved my checkbook," I said. "And I let it happen. I let myself believe that if I just gave enough, eventually you'd see me as something more than a funding source. But I was wrong. So here's what's going to happen," I continued. "I'm done. No more emergency transfers. No more crisis management. As of tonight, the Bank of Claire is permanently closed." "You can't do this," Jennifer whispered. "We need you." "You need my money," I corrected. "You've never actually needed me." "This is temporary," my mother said. "You're upset about the dinner invitation. We can fix this." "I don't want an invitation anymore," I interrupted. "I don't want to be part of this." My father tried a different approach. "We're family, Claire. You don't turn your back on family. Real family shows up for surgeries and graduations," I said. "Real family doesn't send text messages at 11:23 p.m. uninviting you because you're not immediate enough despite being the immediate source of their funding." I closed my portfolio. I've set up an appointment with an attorney for Monday. I want documentation that every dollar I've transferred was a gift, not a loan. And I want you all to understand that this relationship is now over in any meaningful sense. You're overreacting, Jennifer said desperately. One dinner invitation, and you're cutting us off completely? This isn't about one dinner, I said. This is about 6 years of patterns. This is about being valued only for what I provide, not for who I am. I turned toward the door, and Rachel walked with me. Behind us, I heard my mother start to cry. I heard my father's voice, sharp and angry, blaming her. I kept walking. How do you feel? Rachel asked when we reached her car. Empty, I admitted, but also free. The next 72 hours were chaos. My phone exploded with messages, 34 from my mother, 17 from my father, 41 from Jennifer. They ranged from angry to apologetic to manipulative to desperate. My mother's messages started with indignation. How dare you embarrass us like that? By the second day, they'd shifted to guilt. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. If something happens to him, it's on you. By the third day, let's start fresh. We can discuss this like adults. Jennifer's messages were more direct. You're seriously cutting me off over one missed dinner invitation? That's psychotic. I have bills due. Then, fine, be petty. But don't expect me to be there when you need something. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I forwarded everything to the attorney Rachel recommended, Catherine Ross, who specialized in family financial disputes. This is textbook financial exploitation, Catherine said. You have grounds for legal action if you want repayment. I don't want their money, I said. I just want protection from future claims. We drafted a comprehensive document disclaiming any future financial responsibility and confirming all past transfers were gifts. I sent it to my parents via certified mail. By Monday evening, my mother was on my voicemail. You sent us legal papers? Your own parents. The document sat unsigned for a week while my parents tried various tactics. They sent relatives to my apartment to mediate. The document was finally signed and returned within 48 hours of Catherine threatening to make the financial record public. With it came a single-sentence note from my father. We hope you're satisfied with destroying your family over money. I read that sentence 3 times, looking for any hint of self-awareness. There was none. The messages stopped entirely after that. Jennifer unfriended me on all social media. My mother blocked my number. My father sent one final email. We'll respect your wishes for distance. We won't contact you again unless you reach out first. That was 6 months ago. I've heard through relatives that my parents downsized to a smaller house. Jennifer and Marcus moved to a more modest neighborhood. Marcus took a second job to cover the income gap my absence had created. I wish I could say I felt satisfaction. Instead, I mostly felt nothing, a blessed numbness where the constant anxiety about their next crisis used to live. I used part of my savings to finally move out of my studio apartment. I found a beautiful one-bedroom with hardwood floors. I bought furniture I actually liked. I adopted a cat from the local shelter, an orange tabby named Oliver who sleeps on my pillow. Rachel helped me move, along with 2 friends from work. This feels like you, Rachel said, looking around my new living room. Like the life you should have been living all along. For the first time since college, I was living according to my own priorities rather than someone else's emergencies. I enrolled in an executive MBA program I'd been postponing. Work promoted me again, this time to director level with a substantial raise. You seem different lately, my boss commented. More confident, more present. What changed? I stopped letting other people write my story, I said. I date now, casually. I wonder sometimes if my mother regrets the text message that started this unraveling, if she understands that immediate family only was the final straw. I wonder if Jennifer has learned to live within her means. Mostly, though, I don't wonder. I've learned that some questions don't need answers. Some relationships aren't meant to survive, and some families are only families when they're convenient. My parents proved that family, to them, was conditional, contingent on my financial utility, on my willingness to diminish myself to inflate their lifestyle. The hardest lesson I've learned is that you can't make people value you. You can give and sacrifice and bend yourself into smaller pieces trying to fit their expectations, and it will never be enough if they fundamentally don't see you as worthy of basic respect. Have you ever had to walk away from family members who only valued what you could provide rather than who you are? How did you find the strength to choose yourself when everything in you was conditioned to choose them. Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to hear more about boundaries, self-worth, and the difference between obligation and love. Looking back on that evening when I walked into their anniversary dinner uninvited, I sometimes think about what would have happened if I'd stayed silent. I'd still be in that studio apartment, still postponing my education, still believing that love was something you earned through sacrifice rather than something freely given. The night I walked out of their house, I thought I was losing everything. I thought choosing myself meant choosing loneliness. I was terrified I'd spend the rest of my life regretting that one moment of public confrontation. I was right that I'd broken something. But what I'd broken was my own chains, not our relationship. Our relationship had been broken for years, functioning only because I'd been willing to pretend the imbalance was normal. I haven't spoken to my parents or Jennifer since that night. I don't know if I ever will. The relationship we had was built on an unsustainable foundation, and I'm not interested in reconstruction on those same terms. But I'm not holding my breath, and I'm not putting my life on hold. I've wasted enough years in that holding pattern. Now I'm building something new on a foundation that's actually mine. The woman who walked into that anniversary dinner with a manila folder was angry, hurt, desperate to be seen. The woman who walked out was something else entirely, free, clear-eyed, done with performing for an audience that would never applaud. I didn't get the family I wanted that night, but I got something better. I got myself back. And that, it turns out, was worth more than $143,847.52 ever could be.